I need to find a new prepaid wireless plan. Hey guys, I'm shopping for a new prepaid wireless plan, so thought I'd make a video and tell you about it. Turns out both my wife and I need to find a new prepaid wireless plan within the next month or so, and I'm currently taking a look at some different services. Now, this might be a long video, so I think I may cut it into more than one part. Over a year ago, I made some videos about Sprint. I told you about this promotion that they had. You could get their unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data plan for free. Last year, I decided to sign up. Now, I did this for two reasons. One, I don't have a lot of experience using the Sprint network. The only service I've ever used that uses the Sprint network was Google Fi. And in my area, it mostly uses the T-Mobile network. And then two, well, it was free. Had to try it out. It was free, right? Now, I told my wife that I was doing this, and when she said, "Are you signing up?" She said, "Move me if it's free. I want it if it's free." Maybe about a month and a half later, I signed her up for Sprint as well. I ordered the Sprint Bring Your Own Phone SIM kit. They shipped it to me, and I was able to transfer my number. No problems. This transfer was pretty smooth. Then maybe about a month and a half later, I switched over my wife after I tried it out. Now, I made a few videos about this. I made a video about the promotion. I made another video telling you that I switched to Sprint. Mostly, I got a lot of comments, people saying how bad Sprint service was. A few people thought the promotion was interesting. A few people told me they liked Sprint, and a few more people told me they signed up for the promotion as well. All right, so what did we think? Well, if you watch my videos or read my articles, you know I always tell you, pick a service that uses the network that has coverage in the area where you use your phones. So when you're choosing a carrier, if you choose AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, or Sprint, you need to pick the one that has service in your area, that has good coverage in your area. It gets a little bit more complicated if you're going to try one of the prepaid wireless services, because the prepaid services use other people's networks, so you need to know which network you're using if you sign up for a prepaid service. And in this case, at least in Boston Metro, Sprint was not really that good for us. Now, in my local town, the coverage was spotty. So in my neighborhood, in the areas of town I'm in most, it worked, but in the far end of town, no coverage. Seems like it improved a little bit over the year. I was getting more coverage there, but in the far side of town, there were a number of dropouts. Now, that said, I have to say that the service was better than I expected traveling between Boston and New York. I traveled between Boston and New York relatively frequently, and the coverage was better than expected. There was some dropouts, but it worked a lot better than I had expected. My wife reports the same. She said coverage was not as good for her as on the AT&T network. If I had to rate coverages on the networks here, it would be AT&T and Verizon, and then I'm not sure, T-Mobile's kind of a wild card because it works really well in some areas. So in some sense, T-Mobile, in some places, T-Mobile's network can be actually really fast. And then for me, at least, number 4 would be Sprint. Now, a lot of people tell me they like the prepaid services that use the Sprint network. So it really just depends on what area you're in and how good the coverage is. In fact, if you watch YouTube, if you ever see Flossie Carter, him and his cat, they both use Sprint. And he says it works pretty well in the 5 boroughs down in New York City. He says a lot of people use Sprint down there. All right, now in terms of features, what did I like? What didn't I like? Well, I said the coverage wasn't that good, but they also offered the features that people like. They had Wi-Fi calling and mobile hotspot. I was able to use the mobile hotspot when the internet was out at home for a day, was able to get some work done. So it was nice to have that. Now, Wi-Fi calling, it really didn't work too well for me. I had it turned on when I first signed up, and I was always dropping calls, and I was thinking, wow, Sprint is pretty poor in handling calls at my house. Turns out what happens is I was talking on the phone, and I was walking back and forth between rooms and going outside into the yard while I was on these phone calls, and I'd walk out of range of the Wi-Fi, and then rather than hand off the call to the cell network, it just dropped it. Once I turned off Wi-Fi calling, I never had a problem with calls. So the cell coverage at my house was good enough to handle the calls. Wi-Fi calling, which is supposed to help, actually caused me more of a problem. So I just turned it off. As for other features, one feature they had that I thought was pretty good, I was in Logan Airport, that's the airport in Boston, and the phone automatically switched to a secure, and that worked really well, and I appreciated that. Wi-Fi at the airport can be kind of sketchy. You're not really sure what you're connecting to, so it was kind of nice to connect to a secure Wi-Fi network. and just have the phone automatically take care of that. It was probably also faster than the standard free Wi-Fi at the airport, which is usually pretty laggy. Now, one thing that was both good and bad was I saw in the Sprint app or online that I qualified for free Hulu. That's a video streaming service. You could get a free Hulu Unlimited account for a year. It was included with the plan. And I did an online chat with the tech support, and they told me, yes, it was free. So I signed up. And then like a month or two later, I started getting billed $6 a month for Hulu. And I was like, this is crazy because, well, one, I didn't find anything that I wanted to watch on Hulu. I guess I'm just a Netflix guy. I went back and contacted them over online chat again and said, hey, I talked to a rep. He told me this was free. I'm getting billed for it. What's the deal? And they said, oh, no, we're sorry. It's not included with your plan. It was only the first month was free. And they just removed it from my bill and canceled the Hulu service for me. No questions asked. They just refunded my money. So glad I was looking at the bill. I already said the coverage on the Sprint network wasn't that good. And it turns out that my wife and I, we really don't need unlimited plans. It's way too much data. Don't need to be paying for data that we don't use. One of the things I need to talk about, this plan was billed as free. It wasn't really free. I knew that going in, I'd have to pay taxes and fees. Normally the plan would cost, I think it was $60. And what did they end up charging me? They were charging me $4.09 a month. So it turns out it was $4.09 a month up until 2019, where the price went up to $4.59 per month. So how did this break down? They were charging me 40 cents of a regulation fee, $2.50 admin fee. I think that was really just Sprint's way of recovering some costs there. It was $1 Massachusetts 911 tax, and then 19 cents in sales tax. Now, it turns out in 2019, the bill went up to $4.59, and that was because it looks like Massachusetts raised the 911 tax from $1 to $1.50. All that said, for the months I've been on Sprint, it cost me $56.17. Yeah, $56.17 for unlimited talk, text, and data for the entire year. So figure out whatever you're paying for your plan and subtract $56.17 from that, and you'd see how much money you would have saved if you switched to this plan, provided you could live with Sprint. Now, actually, it was a little bit more because I had to pay for the SIM. They charged me $3 for the SIM. It was $10 to ship it, 82 cents tax for a total of $13.81. So the grand total for all the time I've been on Sprint, it cost me $69.98 or $5.83 a month. That was the average. So can't really complain about that. All right, I'm going to talk about the usage. I'll throw up a graphic on the screen here. This is too hard to see on the phone here. I went through the Sprint bills. They were all in the online portal, PDF files, and very detailed totals for the usage. Now, the portal doesn't have any features to actually give you a report of what you're using. I went through and I just put all the numbers into a spreadsheet. Took me maybe about 15 minutes to do it. Did it for both my account and my wife's account. And I would definitely recommend you look at this if you're looking to switch plans or go to a prepaid plan. Figure out how much you use, because you don't want to overpay for service. You don't want to pay for service that you're not going to use. All right, now let me talk about usage. I was surprised. We use our phones a lot less than I thought we did. I know that my usage has been going down over the years because I don't travel on business anymore. It's very rare that I do. I used to do that all the time. So for me, I used 3,748 minutes, 706 text messages, 503 MMS messages, that's group and picture messages, 27 gigabytes of data. Yeah, that's right, just 27 gigabytes of cellular data for the entire year, and just over 2 gigabytes of data for mobile hotspot. And I bet that was all the day or day and a half that my Wi-Fi was down at home. Otherwise, I just don't need it. So on a monthly basis, that's 313 minutes a month, 59 text messages, 42 MMS messages, and about 2.25 gigabytes of data per month. And then the hotspot was only 0.18 gigabytes per month. I didn't really use the hotspot just that time the internet was down. For the missus, She used 1,511 minutes, 442 text messages, 658 picture messages, 37 gigabytes of data, just over 37 gigabytes of data, and 1.4 gigabytes of data for hotspot. Again, she was working at home that same day. Wi-Fi was down and she was using hotspot. So it turns out she used more data than I did last year. And I was talking to her about that, and it turns out her philosophy is when she goes to work, she does not want to put her phone on the wireless network. That's the company's network. She does personal business on her phone, and she wants to keep the two separate. I think that's really smart. You don't have to be doing anything clandestine activities on your phone. But remember, when you connect to your employer's network, they have the right to look at your traffic. Your data is probably encrypted, but your employer has the right to look at what you're doing on the network. So just keep that in mind if you're using your work network for your personal business. I don't feel that way. I'll use the Wi-Fi at work with my phone, regardless of whether it's for personal business or for work. But there are areas where I don't want to use the public Wi-Fi if I'm not familiar with the network. If I go someplace and I don't know which access points are legit, I'll just use my cell data. And a lot of times when you go to these places in public, your cell data is faster than the Wi-Fi because all these other people are trying to use the free Wi-Fi as well. Oh, what did her totals look like? So she used an average of 125 minutes per month. Looks like 36, about 37 text messages a month, 55 MMS messages per month, just over 3 gigabytes of data per month, and 0.12 gigabytes for a hotspot. So this is great. I have these numbers now, and I'm going to use that for evaluating the different plans that we're looking at. Now, we've had some conversations. Do we want to go back to a service that uses the AT&T network? Do we maybe want to try the Verizon network? What features do we want? Do we really want hotspot? Do we really need hotspot? Do we want visual voicemail with our iPhones? We both use iPhones. Kind of both have the feeling that visual voicemail is nice to have. It's not a deal breaker, but once you get used to using it, it's a lot easier to go through your voicemails using visual voicemail than having to dial in and listen to them all. All right, I think that was enough for this video. It's getting kind of long. I'll be back with some more videos where I talk about the different plans that we're looking at, and I'll tell you about what we ultimately choose. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this video, and I will talk to you next time.